Hi, everybody. Well, Carnival Cruise Line's cruise ambassador, John Heald, has just come out and said, hey, you got to watch out for some people on YouTube. Like, is he talking about me? Okay, I'm happy to say John Heald is not talking about me. Let's put that one out there right now. But he is saying that on Facebook, TikTok, and now YouTube, he's seeing more and more people trying to get the headlines, trying to say break into the YouTube industry, and they're looking for those big headlines that not necessarily true. And they're running stories that basically are complete fabrications sometimes and have no, grip on reality in a lot of cases. For instance, one lady just asked John Heald, says, hey, I'm in Jacksonville and I love this cruise ship that's here. I just saw a video on YouTube saying that it's no longer going to be in Jacksonville. It's leaving, and I have 4 cruises booked on it in next year. What's going on? And John said, please send me a link to that video so I can look at it and inform that person, because it's utterly false. He says, we've already announced cruises on that ship going into 2027. So no, it's not going away. It's not disappearing. And there's no plans to have it disappear. And those are just some of the situations that they're facing online. It seems to be people just trying to grab headlines and get the clicks, as opposed to actually reporting on the actual stories that are going on in the news, or even commentaries, right? It's one thing to have a commentary where I just took this cruise on this ship and this is my experience. Those are perfectly legitimate, right? It's and you have to be very careful, because remember, one person's experience is not necessarily another person's experience, right? People have their own outlooks on life. People have their own tastes. People have different taste buds. If you're talking about food, just because somebody said, oh, I really like the pasta in that restaurant, doesn't mean everybody's gonna like the pasta in that restaurant. But that is subject to your own personal views, right? And happenings. So commentary is not so much, but when a YouTuber like myself comes out and says this is happening, they should be telling facts. And if they're not telling facts, they should come back and say, yeah, I was wrong. I once saw a story come across when I was very new to starting doing this. I think I'd only been doing this for like 4 months. And I reported a fire on a cruise ship because I saw a headline in a news story saying that there was a fire on a cruise ship. It turns out it was the 1-year anniversary of that fire, and a news outlet ran it as if it's happening today. And so the cruise line contacted me, and I apologized to them right away. I took the video down and I did another video saying I was wrong about the fire. And I apologized to everybody on it. It's one, you have to have integrity in this kind of things. You have to, it's one thing to have an opinion. I have an opinion. It's not going to be everybody's opinion, but I do have opinions. But I also try and look at both sides of the argument many times. Like a lot of guys out, like Tony, will do the exact same thing, right? He will go out from La Vida Loca and he'll try and look at different stories, and he'll have his say on what he thinks about the situation many times. That's commentary again. But the story is still factual. Now, another case in point, somebody reported that if you buy duty-free liquor on board the cruise ship now in Carnival, they're going to start delivering it to your room and you can drink it in your room. Nothing can be further from the truth. And that goes for every cruise line out there. You're not going to be able to buy liquor on your cruise and have it delivered to your cabin where you can drink it there. No cruise line is going to do that. They want you to buy, for one thing, they want you to buy their liquor on board. They want you to spend your money on board. They're not going to let you go ashore, buy a bottle of booze, bring it on the ship into your room and drink to your heart's content, right? That's why you can only bring a bottle of wine onto a cruise when you start. There's limitations. But somebody ran with a story saying, yep, Carnival's allowing you to do that now, everybody. So when you order it, it's going to go to your room. Again, completely false. Completely inaccurate information. So you have to be careful when you're watching out there. If you're seeing a headline out there that seems absolutely ridiculous, right? Here's another example. I recently saw a story where it said this one particular cruise line has more than doubled its fees, its costs. It's now charging double what it did just a couple years ago. The headline said just a couple years ago. Well, turns out it was a factual story, except the word couple in there. Couple of years was not exactly the time frame that they were talking about. In fact, it was 1978 to 2024. That's not exactly a couple of years ago. That's more than a couple of decades ago. So no, while the story is true that the prices have pretty much doubled since then, they haven't doubled in a couple of years, but the headline made it look like the cruise industry has doubled their prices, this one particular cruise line. And again, it's completely false. And so there are lots of people out there who cover the news, right? Travel Scouts out there, Ship Life does it, Island Time does it, Lalita Loca does it, I do it. A lot of people, cover the news. And Doug Parker will do it, right? We'll also cover it. Cruise Hive does it. Everybody. There's lots of legitimate news coverage out there. And you can tell because in the comments, there's not a lot of, hey, that's a complete false. Hey, that's wrong. Hey, that didn't happen. You do have people in there who are just haters, period. Every website has those. But it's not, there's nothing in there. They're just disagreeing with something you're doing or saying. But there is absolutely so many false headlines out there lately that John Hill has actually come out and said it's becoming a problem. And when he asked that lady to send him that information, I'm guessing it's not just to inform that person that they are incorrect on the situation. I'm thinking that they are going to flag that video as misinformation because it is completely wrong. And that's a warning to anybody out there trying to grow on YouTube. It's not worth it if you grow with lies because eventually it'll all come crashing down on your head.